Hey everybody, welcome to this video guide for Batman Arkham Knight on the Xbox Series X. Today we are completing the AR challenge Crime Alley and we are getting 3 stars on it while playing as Nightwing. Now before I get into the actual level itself, I would like to mention that this footage and the commentary for a majority of this video is actually pulled from my other video, which is an achievement guide for the Chill in the Air achievement. So check that out if you're interested in getting that achievement as well. If you do aim for that achievement, you will more than likely get 3 stars on this AR challenge as each of those characters. So it's definitely a good video to check out if you're interested. I'll of course be linking to it in the description and in the top right as a card for you to use. I will also be linking the video guide for every other character for this AR challenge. So that is all 8 characters. You can locate their guides in the description, so definitely take advantage of that if you're going through all of the characters for this AR challenge. Now that we've got all of that information out of the way, let's actually get into some tips for combat challenges themselves. These tips are actually applicable to the entirety of the game. It's not just Robin, it's not just Batman, it's not just Nightwing. These tips apply to every single character in all of the combat challenges. So have a listen, and I hope I am able to help you out. So let's talk about some tips for making sure you don't take any damage when you are completing these levels. Personally, I'd recommend that you go with the method of hitting, dodging, and hitting. So you want to get in a rhythm of hitting, evading, so you can jump over an enemy, just jump away, etc., and then hitting once again. This allows you to sort of avoid needing to counter, avoid incoming blade attacks, or any other attack that cannot be blocked or countered. So that way you're not taking unnecessary damage because you're not personally prepared to counter, press Y or whatever to try to avoid that damage. Evading is what I personally like to do, and if you do this and also consider what the enemies are armed with, so that would be a shield or a taser, things like that, you'll have a better idea of how to react in certain situations. If you ensure that you are always dodging, you can reorient yourself and prepare yourself for the next attack you will need to perform. Whether that be an attack to take down a shield enemy, a beatdown on a brute, a regular attack, or even preparing yourself for a counter. Giving yourself that extra time when evading will benefit you greatly between each attack, and allow you to avoid damage extremely easily as well. So remember, you want to get into a rhythm of hitting, dodging, and then hitting once again, and just keep that up. That is going to benefit you greatly. Of course, there are circumstances where you need to perform a special attack, like using the back claw to sort of disable the electricity surrounding an enemy, but those are exceptions to the rule and to the rhythm of hitting, dodging, and hitting. Now that we have got all of those tips out of the way, let's get started with this AR challenge. Alright, now it is time to start up the Crime Alley AR challenge with Nightwing, and we are going to be looking at the enemies right off the bat. This is just like Batman and Robin. The only enemies you really need to worry about would be the bladed enemies and the riot shield enemies. Even then, it's not going to be exceedingly difficult. Just be sure to avoid any of the bladed enemies if you attempt to counter them. Just make sure you correctly counter them to avoid that damage. And then of course, do your best to take down the shield enemies so you can have some very easy free flow. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual round itself. I am going to be placing the prompts on the screen so that way you know what I am doing. I just want to further emphasize that the evade, hit, evade rhythm is effective. And the best way to illustrate that is of course in the very first round when there aren't as many enemies and that it's not too much work to add all of these prompts onto the screen. I'm only doing it in this round just like I did it for Batman and Robin. It's only going to be in this very first round. It won't be in the remaining ones, because that's too much work. So let's go on and complete this very first round. Alright, so right off the bat, I'm going to be countering this bladed enemy. They attacked me first, so that is how I'm going to be starting the round. Then I am going to be taking out the riot shield, so now my free flow will not get interrupted unless I get hit, but as you can see, I am evading, I am hitting, getting into that rhythm, and it is pretty easy to avoid any incoming damage by going into the rhythm of hitting, evading, hitting. I used my special attack there because I had enough of a combo, so that gives me a good variation bonus at the end of the round. And then now the round is finished. That was a very easy first round for sure. Once you get to the combat summary, make sure you take a look at the bonuses and ensure you got the no hit bonus. So that way you know you're on track to get this achievement, because it does require you to make sure you do not get damaged at all. Now let's continue on to round number 2. Alright, so starting up round 2, we are going to take a look at the enemies once again. In this round, just like Batman, just like Robin, the only enemies I'd suggest that you worry about would be the Brute and then the enemy with the taser. Of course, you want to avoid hitting these shields and interrupting your free flow, but really you only need to be concerned about taking damage from the Brute and the taser. So I'd personally recommend you go for the beatdown on the Brute right away, so that way you can build up your combo super easy and then use a special attack to finish them if you need to, if you get interrupted at all. That is definitely my go-to method for taking down the Brute quickly. And then of course, doing your best to avoid the taser. Just make sure that it is knocked out of the enemy's hands and it's on the floor. And then throughout the level, keep an eye on it, making sure that no enemies pick it up. If they do, just knock them over once again and get it out of their hands. Definitely do the same for the riot shield, but since it can't damage you, it shouldn't be a priority compared to the taser. Alright, let's get started with this round. Alright, so right off the bat, I go for the beatdown on the Brute, and then since the enemies that are attacking me are able to be countered, I just continue with the beatdown. It's pretty easy to keep up the beatdown between counters, so you shouldn't need to worry about anything. What I was worried about is if the enemy with the taser did come attack me because I couldn't counter that. But luckily, that didn't happen for me, so I just continued the beatdown. Of course, if I wanted to, I could have used the special attack to take down that Brute, and it would have been no problem. But anyways, we are continuing on. You can see I'm just hitting, evading, continuing on and on, just like that, keeping that rhythm up, avoiding all of the enemies that I can't exactly hit, making sure I take down the enemy with the shield, and then the round is over. That one felt really quick to me. I don't know if it was just you, but dealing with that Brute and then making sure the taser is out of play makes things really easy. Alright, let's move on to round number 3 and let's take a look at all of the enemies. Alright, so in this round, you have to deal with a Brute, a medic, and an enemy with a gun. I personally recommend that you build up your combo by targeting the medic and the other easy enemies, hopefully taking out the medic in the process, and then I'd recommend that you use 2 of your special moves to take down the Brute as soon as possible. Remember that the medic not only revives knocked out enemies, but they can give their allies an electric charge which can only be disabled by using the backclaw. Once both the Brute and the medic are down, make sure that you keep the gun out of the hands of the enemies throughout the entire level, and of course do your best to make sure that the riot shield is on the ground at the same time, so that way you can have a very easy time getting some free flow going and you can take out these enemies extremely easily. Now let's go ahead and get started with the round itself. Alright, so starting off, like I said, avoid that Brute. I'm taking out the enemy with the shield, then disabling the enemy that is electrified, and then I'm targeting the enemies in this area, getting rid of that gun from the enemy's hands. Then with the special attack I am using it on the Brute. Then I'm just continuing to attack enemies and evade to the best of my ability. And then luckily, since I had targeted all of the enemies in that corner, I was able to take out the medic, and then I used the special attack on the Brute. So now I have 2 of the main threats out of the way, and all I need to worry about is the gun. So it is just continuing on and watching out for the riot shield, attacking and evading, just keeping that rhythm up, making sure I'm not getting damaged by any attacks, and I am just continuously moving around so that way I won't get hit. Remembering to make sure that I want to keep up my free flow because I do want the points, so I am making sure none of the enemies pick up the riot shield so that way I can easily continue on with my combo. Anyways, that is the end of this round. I was able to attack and evade for the remainder of those easy enemies, and I am ensuring once again that I have the no hit bonus once the round is completed. Now let's continue on to our final round as Nightwing. So taking a look at all of the enemies, it is basically double the threat from the last round. What we are going to be doing is treating it just the same. We're going to avoid the Brutes and make sure to build up our combo on the easy enemies. Then we are going to use whatever special attacks that we do have on the Brutes themselves, making sure we are targeting the medics so that way they can't always electrify enemies. And remember, to disable the electricity surrounding an enemy, you use the backclaw, and then you can easily attack them, not worry about getting damaged. And then of course, we have the guns to worry about. What we're going to be doing is just making sure they aren't in the hands of the enemy extremely often, so that way we don't have to worry about damage from a distance. So my recommended order of operations and who you want to target would be the medics, then the enemies with the guns, so that way you can build up your combo to use special attacks on the Brutes. It will take 4 special attacks total, so be patient with this one. Definitely try your best, and definitely remember to hit and evade, so that way you are constantly moving and you're avoiding any damage possible. Alright, let's get started with the final round. So once again, I am avoiding those brutes right off the bat. I am disabling any of the enemies that are electrified so that way I do not get damaged by them. I'm getting rid of the enemies that have the guns. I'm using these special attacks on the brutes so that way I can do some easy damage on them. I'm continuing to evade and attack, building up my combo, making sure to avoid any of the electrified enemies. I'm using the special attack that I saved up on the brute so that way now I only have one brute to deal with. I'm constantly moving, keeping an eye on where the gun is, and I am making sure to disable the electrified enemies that are nearby me so that way I have one less thing to worry about. Taking care of the guns, making sure to use any special attacks that I build up on the brutes, and just continuing to evade and attack. You can kind of see a pattern here. It does get kind of messy in this final round, but if you remember the tips that I gave in the beginning, if you are evading and attacking, you get that extra second to reorient yourself and figure out where the targets that you want to focus on will be. So you can see right now I have the brutes taken care of completely. I don't need to worry about them. Now the main threats are the medics. I just took down one of the medics, and then this medic here, I used a special attack on them. Now I don't have to worry about any of the medics. All I need to worry about really would be the guns. So I am just watching out for anybody picking up any guns, and I'm continuing to evade and attack, and I am completing this round without getting damaged at all. So once you have gotten to this point, make sure to take a look at the final combat summary. If you see that you got the perfect night bonus, you have completed every single round while playing as Nightwing without getting damaged. Alright, so that is the end of this video. Remember, I did take this footage and commentary from my achievement guide for a chill in the air, so that is why there is such a huge emphasis on the fact that I wasn't taking any damage. But considering my score is nearly double the requirement for 3 stars, it is definitely an effective manner of reaching 3 stars. So I hope I was able to help you with this video. Please stick around and subscribe to my channel for more content like this one, and I do hope to see you in my next video. Take care, everybody.